Millions of Americans are impacted by identity theft, fraud, and scams every year. Yet most don't know where to turn. People assume you call the police, but victims often feel dismissed or overwhelmed. That's where the Identity Theft Resource Center comes in.
The Identity Theft Resource Center is a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization, and we exist to help victims of crime, victims of identity theft and fraud, scams, to anything that has to do with an identity credential. We are that lifeline. This isn't anecdotal. This isn't hypothetical. Victims are telling us that they experience fear, depression, anxiety, anger, frustration, and unfortunately, even thoughts of self-harm. And over the last 4 years, we have seen those rates of thoughts of self-harm and suicide go from low single digits into double digits. And now we're looking at about 14% of victims feel that the only way out of their situation is to end their life. Let that sink in. This crime has a huge impact.
When victims reach out to the ITRC, they're connected with what we call an advisor, and the advisor really starts very general. So we ask a couple of basic questions that around demographics and things like that, and then we just kind of go, tell me what's happening, right? So we let the victim who calls in really share, or texts or calls or chats with us, just share in their own words what's happening. And then based on what's happening, then we start to come up with a plan. Do you need to protect your information? Is it that someone's misusing your information and you need to recover? So we come up with a recovery plan, and we kind of go step by step with all the things that need to be done. And then depending on where the victim's at, we might say, you know what, that's a lot. Let's start with step one. And that step one can vary depending on who the person is, what they're going through, how they feel personally about it, and then just how serious it is.
It's a lot easier for people to get their heads around identity theft and fraud and scams when you can give them a source, when you can tell them where it all starts. And today, pretty much in every instance, even cyber attacks today, begin with a data breach. They begin with stolen data. And so being able to quantify that helps people understand the crime better and understand their risk better. But it also helps policymakers pinpoint something they can do. They can point to a source, they can point to a solution, and then they can make policies. But the fact that we have reached the point where virtually everyone's personal information, if you're an adult, has been breached or will be breached, that's an indictment that we're not doing enough.
I actually learned of the Identity Theft Resource Center as a high-tech crime investigator. And what I realized was I could do so much for my victim and try to do the criminal aspect, but I was able to refer my victim to the Identity Theft Resource Center because I knew there was someone there to help handhold them and walk them through the process of recovering and making all the notifications, maybe putting credit freezes in place. All these things as a detective, I know that they need to do. And so to me, I always consider it a win-win, right? Because I was able to make sure I knew my victim was getting the help they needed, and I could focus on my criminal investigation.
I think it's critical for police and nonprofit organizations like ITRC to work together because the problem of identity crime is pervasive. It's probably impacted you or someone you know, and it's not really going to be fixed with a single solution. We can't arrest our way out of this problem. Right? We need to work together and leverage all of the resources that are available to us. And ITRC is a free resource that provides a great benefit to victims that law enforcement can leverage.
Engaging with us really helps solve a problem, but it helps make your community feel safer. And in a lot of ways, they are safer because they have the tools to protect themselves against this often nebulous crime that people feel like it can't happen to me. I'm too savvy for that. And the reality is everyone is vulnerable, just differently. And as soon as we acknowledge that to ourselves, I think we can build those meaningful partnerships.